Yeah, we all know that politics is a dirty game and a game of special interests, as we would say it. And this is just remarks made by the former Deputy President of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, over the Somali community. Had a lot of titles stating that Gachagua says that the Somali people should go back to Somali. The Kenyan Somali people should go back to Somali. I know it's a fight that is worldwide, not just a national fight. There is after the U.S. President Donald Trump saying that he will deport most of the Somalis to go back to their rugged land where there's no peace, there's no security, there's nothing good there. He terms Somalia as a hellish land, a land that looks like hell because always people are fighting against each other, killing each other. Everyone is carrying a gun, ready to kill, ready to maim. That is how Donald Trump, puts it. And this is after the great scandal in the history of the U.S. Was unveiled. That is in Minnesota after the fraud, the child feeding programs that the U.S. government has been funding with a lot of U.S. dollars went on to the limelight, and that those funds, there are no children who are benefiting from those funds, but that money is wired to different organizations, including the Al-Shabaab in Somalia. So the money that the U.S. government is giving is used to fund the Al-Shabaab activities back in Somalia. And Trump vowed to bring all these things into order, and that is defunding them. You get that, defunding them, not funding those child cares or whatever health programs again, and they should return that money. And this is started with the Ilhan Omar's scandal, where she's alleged that she married her brother to get herself a legal entry into the U.S. And that legal entry has brought into other issues. That she married other brothers, other husbands, and all those marriages are just decoys because her bank account or her wealth increased over 1,000 times, 1,000% the normal within a very short time, and that is what brought all the issues or took the eyes of the FBI to check into that, like where does she get all that wealth, and that is what brought all these other issues, and that. Some of the properties or that money has funded some buildings or some properties in Kenya, as most of the Kenyans would say. And I think this is what caught the eye of the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to really check into it and say that these people need to go back to their own land. Yeah, there are things that have happened. There are things that have happened made by this Somali community in Kenya. And Kenyans have been so slow to talk about it, but now I think they're getting the guards to speak about this. Remember, there's a scandal. It wasn't really a scandal, but a social media frenzy that was brought by a few Somali children. I'll call them children because they're boys who were stepping on the Kenyan flag and disrespecting the Kenyan flag in general. And that the public went mad on social media. It's like these children should be apprehended and respect the Kenyan flag. You cannot come to Kenya, you live in Kenya, and then you're disrespecting the Kenyan flag when your own country is not at peace and you guys are looking for asylum or peace in the country that you're stepping on that flag. That means you're not respecting this country. It's the same thing that is happening in the US, because there are very many Somali people who would say that they have a plan to take over the United States of America and make it a Somali, which is impossible. But to them, they believe they have what it needs for them to do that, of which will bring a lot of problems on their side. But all in all, I don't know if Kenyans are in agreement with the sentiments of the former deputy president that the Somali people should go back to where they came from. They should go back to their own country and make their own country. Remember, there is a whole estate or a whole town that is coming up in Nairobi called Isli that is fully dominated by Somalis. All those businesses that are happening there are from Somalis. And and some other high-rise buildings are coming up in Nairobi linked to Somalis. And the people from Somalia or the whatever oil Arab countries and all that. And it's not easy for any other person, any other black person or any other Kenyan to get themselves in those apartments because they're specifically for the Somali people. And that raises eyebrows to most of the people. Like, if they don't want other people to go there, what do they do in those houses, or what activities are running in those houses that makes them not need other people to come to those houses. Remember, even these Somali people have been linked to some Al-Shabaab activities. Some of them have been linked to Al-Shabaab activities, or funding Al-Shabaab, or maybe hiding Al-Shabaab terror operatives in some of those places like Eastleigh and other places within the country that end up doing a lot of havoc within the country. So I don't know what you think about the statements that have been made by the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, if they are remarks that the government should follow and to follow them up to death and see whether these people can be sent back to their home, or they're just a political sentiments that don't have nothing in it that can make the government check on that. Earlier last year, yeah, because of the elections that are coming in, so we've had rumors that, or those were alleged that most of the Somali guys have been or are receiving what we call IDs in a way that does not really follow the order or the law of the country. Of course, there must be some interviews they are doing for them to going through some interviews for them to be able to receive those ID cards. But in that state, or whatever was happening on the other side, it was just issuing them those IDs without even checking onto their background. But we know most of the people understand that most of those people on that area are Al-Shabaab operatives. So just giving them the IDs to come to the country and become the Kenyan citizens, you're giving them a legal entry to the country that they're looking into destroying because of some few things that just them only understand. So yeah, it's politics, and politics is always a dirty game, as we began by saying, and we will not really understand, but with future we'll get it right. So engage us in the comment section and tell us what do you think about these sentiments made by Rigathi Gachagua. Do you think they're valid or they're invalid?